Welcome to our channel. Today we are going to explore the fascinating history of Alaska, the largest and most northern state of the United States. From its indigenous peoples to Russian settlers, from the purchase known as Seward's Folly to the discovery of gold and oil, Alaska's story is one of resilience, exploration, and transformation. Let's begin. Long before any Europeans arrived, Alaska was home to diverse native groups who had lived there for thousands of years. These included the Inupiat and Yupik in the Arctic, the Aleut in the Aleutian Islands, and the Tlingit, Haida, and Tsimshian in the southeast. They developed rich cultures, relying on the land and sea for survival. Hunting whales, fishing salmon, and trading furs, they adapted to one of the harshest climates on Earth. Their traditions, languages, and art remain a vital part of Alaska's identity today. The first Europeans to reach Alaska were Russians. In 1741, Vitus Bering, sailing for Russia, explored the Alaskan coast. Soon after, Russian fur traders established settlements, hunting sea otters, whose pelts were extremely valuable in China and Europe. By the late 1700s, Russia had founded trading posts across the Aleutian Islands and mainland. However, the Russian presence was small, and the harsh environment, combined with limited resources, made colonization difficult. By the mid-1800s, Russia no longer saw Alaska as profitable and feared losing it to Britain in a future conflict. In 1867, the United States purchased Alaska for $7.2 million, roughly 2 cents an acre. The deal was negotiated by Secretary of State William H. Seward. At the time, many Americans mocked the purchase, calling it Seward's Folly or Seward's Icebox, believing the land was useless. Little did they know how valuable Alaska would become. The 1890 seconds changed everything. The discovery of gold in the Yukon and later in Nome, Alaska, brought tens of thousands of prospectors to the region. Towns grew overnight, and Alaska became a land of opportunity and adventure. The gold rush also boosted infrastructure, with railroads, ports, and supply routes being built. For many, Alaska was no longer just an icy wilderness, it was a place to seek fortune. During World War II, Alaska gained strategic importance. The Japanese invaded the Aleutian Islands of Attu and Kiska in 1942, making Alaska the only U.S. territory occupied during the war. American forces eventually recaptured the islands, but the war highlighted Alaska's importance for national defense. Military bases were built, and the Alaska Highway was constructed to connect Alaska to the rest of North America. After years as a U.S. territory, Alaska officially became the 49th state on the 3rd of January 1959. Statehood brought new rights, representation in Congress, and greater control over resources. It was a proud moment for Alaskans, who had long fought for recognition as part of the United States. The true economic transformation of Alaska came in 1968 when vast oil reserves were discovered at Prudhoe Bay. This led to the construction of the Trans-Alaska Pipeline, completed in 1977. Which carried oil across 800 miles from the Arctic to the southern port of Valdez. Oil revenues provided wealth for the state, funding schools, roads, and even the Alaska Permanent Fund, which pays residents yearly dividends from oil profits. Today, Alaska is home to about 730,000 people, yet it remains one of the least densely populated areas in the U.S. It is famous for its breathtaking landscapes, from Denali, North America's tallest mountain, to glaciers, fjords, and wildlife. Tourism, fishing, and energy remain the backbone of its economy. But Alaska also faces challenges. Climate change is melting glaciers, affecting ecosystems and traditional native ways of life. The balance between resource development and environmental protection continues to shape the state's future. The history of Alaska is the story of a land once dismissed as empty and frozen that became a vital part of the United States. From its native peoples and Russian explorers to gold seekers, soldiers, and oil workers, Alaska has always been a place of resilience, opportunity, and wonder. In addition to its natural resources and dramatic landscapes, Alaska has always been a place of cultural blending. Indigenous traditions, Russian influences, and later American ways of life all merged to create a unique identity. For example, Russian Orthodox churches can still be found in parts of Alaska, standing alongside native art and modern American towns. This mix of cultures makes Alaska different from anywhere else in the United States. Alaska is also known for its extreme geography and climate. Winters are long and dark, while summers bring the famous midnight sun when the sun barely sets in the Arctic Circle. These conditions have shaped not only the lifestyles of native communities but also the challenges of modern development. From building roads across permafrost to dealing with isolation in remote villages, Alaskans are known for their toughness and creativity. The state's wildlife is another treasure. Brown bears, moose, bald eagles, and humpback whales are just a few of the species that thrive here. National parks like Denali and Glacier Bay attract millions of tourists each year. For many visitors, Alaska represents a final frontier, a place where nature still dominates and where adventure awaits around every corner. Politically, Alaska has played an important role in American debates about energy, environment, and native rights. The Alaska Native Claims Settlement Act of 1971 was a landmark moment, granting land and financial compensation to native groups. This act not only recognized the rights of Alaska's first peoples, but also allowed them to take part in the economic development of the state. In recent years, Alaska has become a focal point in discussions about climate change. Glaciers are retreating, sea ice is melting, and coastal villages face threats from rising seas and erosion. At the same time, oil and gas continue to fuel the economy. This tension between protecting the environment and relying on natural resources defines much of Alaska's modern story. Yet, through all these changes, one thing remains constant: the spirit of Alaska. It is a place of breathtaking beauty where rugged landscapes meet resilient people. It is a land that demands respect and rewards those who embrace its challenges. Whether through the traditions of native peoples, the legacy of explorers and settlers, or the determination of modern Alaskans, the history of this state reflects the endurance of both nature and humanity. So, the story of Alaska is more than just dates and events. It is about people adapting, surviving, and thriving in one of the harshest and most inspiring places on Earth. From its earliest tribes to its role as America's 49th state, Alaska continues to be a symbol of discovery, resilience, and the enduring bond between humans and the natural world.